Welcome to the inaugural Buffalo Commander podcast. How you doing, Kevin?
Good, man. What's going on?
Good. Not bad, not bad. Yeah, before we start, just encourage everybody to like, share, and subscribe just to kind of keep this afloat and what we're doing here. The reason we kind of started this, I kind of wanted to go into that first before we move on. I think primarily we just wanted a place and a space to talk about football, really. I know you and I have been talking about it for a while.
Yeah.
And then it's hard to get everything together because I'm a Bills fan. You're a Washington fan, right? But I think that we can try to connect them with the division races and everything else that's going on quite a bit. And then I think
it's funny because over the years, Sunday passes and then come Monday, we catch ourselves like calling each other up like, hey, man, like, what do you think about this? And we end up analyzing like the entire day.
Or just providing therapy for.
Well, it's usually therapy for me.
Taking L's.
Your hopes and dreams are much higher than mine.
Yeah.
And, so I think that's how it kind of turned into this, where obviously there's people like us out there, a lot of our friends and family like that too, that want to get in, the nit and gritty of everything. So that's what this is for. Yeah.
Yep. And I think too, we'll be found on YouTube and on Facebook as of right now. We might expand out to X and potentially to podcast platforms. But as of right now, that's what we'll be. And then we're going to invite a bunch of people to this page from our Facebook groups to do it. So I think another piece that I wanted to do was I see a lot of people talking and like doing live streams online and having conversations, whether it's spaces on Twitter or just Facebook. And I want to provide like an open space for people, even if you want to be on the show, you can comment. We're going to do this probably once or twice a week. And then you can just comment underneath like, hey, I'd like to be a part of this, what I want to talk about, because we're not just limited to these two teams. And honestly, like I think we talked about this too. I want to expand out a little bit into like maybe even some pop culture, the current events of the day, stuff like that. Not a lot of that, but like maybe just a cherry on top in an episode kind of thing where we can just throw that into if it makes sense. I have one today, by the way. So it's a secret though. Did you want to start off with kind of what your topics you want to talk about?
Sure. Well, and again, so first and foremost, I'm a diehard Washington fan, always have been. So we haven't had a lot of, positives in a long time. I mean, we finally have a new owner. We're excited. And the season did not start off where we thought we'd be in the dumps and one of the worst teams. I think it's arguably the worst team in the NFL right now, the Washington Commanders. Maybe the Panthers, but I think right now if the Panthers and Commanders played, if it was in Carolina, I think that Carolina would win. I think that's how bad we are right now.
I don't know, man, but
you don't know about that?
Yeah,
they're like something like 3-1 or 3-2. The Panthers in their last, as far as the spread and what Vegas thinks.
Against the spread.
Yeah,
potentially, yeah, but
so they're not as bad as people think. But anyway, they're bad, but still. Yeah. But I guess my point is, so we've gotten to the point where we are, we're fighting for that second place draft pick right now, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, we obviously hate Cowboys fans. Our good buddy Brian is a huge Cowboys fan, and I can always, if the Redskins lose, Commanders, I can always root for whoever's playing the Cowboys, and it usually works to my favor, and I'm happy at least, But and so that's what our last game is against the Cowboys on Sunday, and obviously the Cowboys are well favored. They're 3.5-point favorites right now, but we can believe it or not, there is a large group of Commanders fans that still all they care about is beating the Cowboys. They don't care about the draft status, which is crazy to me, absolutely crazy. You got to think long term. And especially, and Alex, you're the pro at this. I do not watch college football. I'm not very close, but it sounds to me, from what I'm hearing from everybody, that we've got a lot of talented quarterbacks in this draft.
Yeah, you got like 4 or 5 first rounders probably. You got
wow, yeah. So
Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels,
right?
Penix, who was playing the national championship. There's a bunch of them. So.
Yeah, so I mean, this can work in our favor. I mean, think about it. We've got a new owner. We want to bring in a new GM and coach. What's more attractive to a new GM and coach than a number 2 draft pick in a class with all these talented quarterbacks, right? Yeah. So the thing is, we are extremely, extremely tight with the Patriots in that number 2 slot. If we lose and they lose, we still may not have that number 2 slot. It's so close that it's really going to depend on some other games and strength of schedule. That's the tiebreaker. And I want to show you guys how close this actually is. It's kind of ridiculous. Let's see here.
You presenting?
Yeah, I'm going to present this right here. This is called Tankathon. This actually shows what we need to happen in order for us. It's so tight, and I think I have another one here too that actually shows how tight it is on that tiebreaker. But basically, if we both lose, this is what we want to happen as a Commanders fan for this last week, right in the middle here. Can you see this, Alex?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yep. Okay, yeah. So, and you notice this one has 2 stars. That's the most important. So if you're a Commanders fan out there, you're rooting for New Orleans.
Yeah.
Which is really hard for me, especially because if you're a Commanders fan, you're probably a Heine fan, a Taylor Heineke fan.
Yeah.
And is he starting on Sunday, Alex?
I think so.
I think he is.
Yeah, I think he is.
And I mean, that dude's, I love that guy. And I'm not a big Derek Carr fan. I feel like he crumbles all the time. So, but anyway, we've got to root for the Saints. And the reason is the Commanders beat Atlanta and the Patriots beat New Orleans. So that means that the Patriots beat the Patriots beat New Orleans. If New Orleans wins, that's a stronger strength of schedule because you beat a team that just won a game. And that's why we want New Orleans to win.
Right.
So
basically your strength of schedule has to be, or your strength of victory or strength?
Yeah, the teams that we win needs to be against crappier teams, basically.
Yeah, it has to be that way. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So huge game. I'm super excited about it, but it is hard. I have to admit, it's extremely hard when you're a Commanders fan that you don't really necessarily want to root against the Cowboys. You actually want to root for them. It's going to be hard, but that's what we want to do. Now the problem is. You still there, Alex?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. The problem is you don't know what's going to happen with this coaching staff that we have at the Commanders. Ron, obviously, you can't expect Ron, the coach, Ron Rivera, to want to lose. He's going to want to win. He actually has a 500 all-time coaching record, and if he loses this game, he's going to have a losing record for his career. He doesn't want that. He wants to win. The players on the field are going to want to try to win. You can't expect them to – they don't care about what you want to do in the future. They want to win. So it's really going to depend on who's quarterbacking. Is it going to be Sam Howell? And we don't know if the owner is going to be involved enough to say, hey, we want to see Fromm. We want to see what he can do. Or we want you to play all the people that haven't played. We want to see if they're talented and if they have any – give them a shot. Because they can't really say, hey, tank the game.
Right.
But I'm curious to see what the owner does. And obviously, if we end up having somebody like Brissett out there, Jake out there, and he's or Brissett, Jacoby Brissett, and if he's the quarterback and we end up winning this one,
he's not.
Okay.
He already said he's going to start Howell. Which
good.
Last year, I went to the game last year when y'all played them the last game of the year. I went with a Dallas fan, my buddy Scott, and it was awful because he's a Dallas fan and watching. They were getting beat. And they didn't have much to play for that last year, just like this year. They don't have a little lot to play for. Neither does Washington. But Washington actually has more to lose for this year than they did last year. But you might have a Belichick effect with Rivera. He knows he's getting fired. So he's going to come out, try to win.
He is.
Just to win or to screw the Commanders, season up going forward,
Absolutely.
So, but there are a lot online too that I've seen that really, really want the Commanders to win just so they can rub it in the Cowboys' face. This is probably the biggest rivalry maybe in the NFL where rivalries really not that big of a deal.
It really isn't anymore. I'm embarrassed to even – it used to be, but not anymore. I mean, it's just different levels right now. So, but, without talking about the draft picks and who we think the quarterback – obviously, we're going to talk about that.
We'll get in that later.
Later. It's all about you want to have that number 2 pick because you have more leverage, you have more opportunities, and you want to do whatever you can to get it. So
plus, if you're like pick 3 or 4, you're going to get caught in a situation with whether it's Arizona or New England or even maybe Chicago. I still think Chicago is going to draft one. They're not going to move away. They're playing chicken with this thing to see what they can drive the price up to.
Yeah.
But you're going to be in a spot where you're going to have to trade up to the Cardinals pick to leapfrog New England maybe. And that's going to cost you at least a first rounder next year, considering that they know this is like a big quarterback draft and the Cardinals don't need one. They can move back and still probably get Marvin Harrison, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's crucial unless somebody leapfrogs you to one. But at that point, it's like, okay, I mean, if I don't have to give up 2 first-round picks to get to pick 1, and I can still get Drake May at pick 2 instead of Caleb Williams, oh well.
Yeah.
You know, in some respects, I like Drake May and Jaden better than I do Caleb in some respects. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of that's how I would do it. But yeah, I think it's a lot on the line. I would be real. I told you earlier in the year. You were like, well, I really want to win games. And I was like, well, if you think you suck, you should want to lose all your games. Because I know that makes me a weird fan, but like, I'm thinking like long play, like you're there to win a Super Bowl, right? If you're not there, if you're not even close to a Super Bowl level team, you might as well tank and go to get the best quarterback available so you can just start from scratch and enjoy it. Because like, as a Bills fan, we had 18 years of mediocrity or below mediocrity, but not good enough to be top 7 or 8 in the draft. Even when we got Allen.
The interesting about the Commanders is, you know, we went into the season thinking we would have a top 10, maybe top 5 defense, definitely top 10.
Yeah.
And we went in thinking, okay, we feel like our quarterbacking would be the same, if not a little bit better. And we have Jacoby, who's a really solid top tier backup at least.
Mm-hmm.
So if you put those 2 things together, you would think, okay, you know, Ron Rivera always starts off slow every season. And then he goes on a little run, and that you could always switch quarterbacks, and that didn't happen. We never had that little streak. We actually lost we got blown out by Chicago. We got blown out by the Giants twice.
Mm-hmm.
We got blown out by, the Dolphins,
the Bills.
That one's probably understandable, but
anyway,
so yeah, it was a weird season, but you're right. As soon as you know that you're gonna suck, so to speak, you want to do that, and
ride it. Yeah,
you just want to ride it. And I'm glad that we used that draft pick with Chase Young, or we got that draft pick for him, I should say. That was a good move. Montez Sweat, that hurt a little bit, but I still think it was the right move. So
he's been good too.
And the Patriots beat the Bills, right? So that means that we kind of want the Bills, obviously, to win.
The first time. Yeah.
Okay.
So you want us to keep winning because they did beat us once.
Right.
Although I think they go by strength of schedule, not strength of victory. So I think that
doesn't
it won't matter. Yeah. But it does matter because the better our record, but it doesn't too because they have we're playing the Dolphins, you know.
Playing the Dolphins.
So they play both of us twice every single year.
Yeah, it doesn't make a difference. That's probably why it's not on that sheet. Okay.
It makes no sense. It makes no difference really in this game. But I think the main one is that Saints game, especially because Derek Carr and that team too.
Yeah. How do you feel about Derek Carr in that game?
Oh, I think he's inconsistent. I can't trust him. I've lost money on betting on games and stuff because I bet on the Saints thinking they turned it around, you know.
And what's funny is that's your typical quarterback the Commanders would typically try to sign. Somebody that sounds a little, sexy.
Yeah.
But really he's a failure all the time.
We also worry about Russell Wilson's out there too. That'd be another bonehead thing for them to do.
Right.
Bring Russell Wilson back home to, the DMV or whatever. He's from here, but that'd be an awful decision. He doesn't look good at all. So, all right.
That's what I got, boss, on the first topic.
Yeah. I'll get into mine. With the Bills game this weekend, we've got 3 chances to make it into the playoffs, but 2 chances before the game starts. Really 3, because if the night game on Saturday between the Colts and the Texans go to a tie, but that's not going to happen. So Steelers need to lose, or the Jaguars got to go down if we don't want Sunday night to be a win and in and a lose and you're out. So I'm rooting hard for the Steelers to lose to the backups on the Ravens and the Titans to finally step up and play consistent and beat a inconsistent Jags team, which I don't think either going to happen. I think it's going to come down to the wire on Sunday night, and it's going to be, we're going to win. We'll be the 2 seed, or we're out of the playoffs completely if we lose, which is a crazy predicament to be into.
Yeah.
But we kind of did it. We did this to ourselves, you know. This was not a situation that, you know, that we're without fault on. We didn't lose games because of luck. Like Josh Allen threw 2 or 3 games away just from turning the ball over. And they try to make it like it's kind of his MO for his whole career. I get it, but it's really not like this year. In the past, he would throw interceptions and they were kind of meaningless. We'd go 13-3 and he second in the league in interceptions last year, you know. This year they just happened to bite us right from game 1 when the Jets beat us.
I mean, he had 1 or 2 last week.
He had 1 last week.
Okay, he had 1 last week.
He just can't help himself. It pisses me off every damn week. He throws one and I'm just like, I took my jersey off this week. I was like, I'm not wearing this anymore. Like, you got to stop doing it. I'm not going to, like, I know it doesn't matter, right? But it's like, I'm not going to support him if he's going to keep doing shit. Like, he just can't help himself. And the problem is the offense has changed now with Joe Brady after we fired Ken Dorsey.
Yeah.
We've got new pieces in place, sort of, because he's utilizing different pieces than we were using before. So, like, now we're running the ball more. We're running the ball too much. I mean, it's the NFL. We're not playing high school football. Like, running game helps. It's a auxiliary piece to your offense. It cannot be
less Diggs too, right?
Huh?
Less Stephon Diggs.
And less Stephon Diggs. And a lot of that's a kind of a double-edged sword, though. I think Diggs is worn down. He's 30 years old now. So he's worn down. The season's carried on. So he's tired, I think. He's rested. He's been pulled out of games for rest. He's like raised his hand, like, you know, in high school sports, you're like, hey, get me out of the game. He's done that a couple times where it's like, I think he's just worn down and he's just not. And the targets are different. So, like, with Dorsey, he was pushing the ball downfield. With Joe Brady, his idea of getting Stephon Diggs involved, just throwing a wide receiver screen where he gets tackled after a yard. Like, of course he's tired. He's getting beat up. He's not a big guy.
Different type, different style.
Yeah. So
I mean, just to make sure I understand. So if you got the quintessential, if you control your own destiny, if you win, you're in. Is that right? Or you need help and you need to win?
No, if we win, we're in. We're the 2 seed, no matter what.
Okay, there you go.
So that's good because we're alive till the very last moment of that, right?
Yeah.
But it's still scary because we own the Dolphins. Like, we lost last year 21-19 when they literally put, like, we go where the way team always goes on the sunny side of the field. I know it sounds like a cop out, but it's true. There's 120 degrees on that side of the field. Their side is in the shade all game.
Yeah.
And per NFL rules, if they refuse something, the home team, to help themselves, you can't have it as an advantage. So they didn't have misters on their side of the field. So we didn't either because we couldn't add it. So we now misters on the field, 120 degrees. They were trying to kill us.
They're trying to kill you.
Yeah. Well, we had 500 yards of offense. He had 250 or something, and we lost. So, like, the one time we've lost in the last 12 games is because it's just fluky. But I just don't think that they have a lot of injuries. So I'll show you kind of the report. Hold on real quick. Share screen. All right. I'm gonna go here. All right. Oh, it's right up. It's the first thing up. Okay. So this is their injury report. They've got Bradley Chubb's out for the season. Tyreek Hill didn't participate, but his house burned down. So it's a whole other thing. Tyreek Hill's house burned down this week.
Yeah, one of his kids or something, right?
One of his kids burned the house down, which is insanity.
Playing with a lighter. One of his kids was playing with a lighter. Yeah,
it's ridiculous. So his head's probably not in the right space. Xavier Howard's out for the season. Raheem Mostert and Jalen Waddle are both going to probably be out. I already know that. So, I mean, I'm not going to go through the whole list, but you can see that the list of players that are not going to play this week are pretty extensive for them. And I honestly think that's going to be too much to overcome. They'll have no pass rush.
Well, no, they just don't. They have a horrible record of playing anybody of substance. They can't beat anybody that's good.
Yeah, most of that's away. So there's a caveat. So, like, most of those games have been away. The one game they played at home was the Cowboys game, right? They won that game, but the Cowboys gave it away too. They fumbled the ball on the 1 yard line with a fullback in the first drive of the game, and they never really kind of got back into a sync. Now it's still like 22-20. Here's the thing. Without Waddle, they eat on the middle of the field. Tua's probably got one of the bottom 5 arms in terms of strength in the whole NFL. He's just not – he doesn't have a strong arm. He cannot throw, and I'm not talking about go balls. I'm talking about deep outs, deep comebacks, corner routes, things like that. He can't make those throws with a – he can do it sometimes, but it has to be perfect. Timing has to be perfect. He can't make those throws on a consistent basis. You see what the Ravens did to him, what we did to him the first time, and with the who else was it that they lost to that beat him? They had some other team that beat him, did the same thing. They took away the middle of the field. Yeah. And when you do that, he goes from like he's elite at the middle of the field. You take that away, he's just a average to below average quarterback. He's too small and too slow and doesn't have much of an arm. I mean, he's accurate, but I'm not scared of him, right? And you take Waddle out of the equation, and Tyreek Hill's only playing he has an ankle sprain too that I think is a high ankle. So he's out. I mean, he's playing on it, but that's pretty painful. He's probably at like 80%. Like, I just don't see how they can keep up with it. Now, the only way we lose is if Josh doesn't get into any kind of rhythm. He doesn't be perfect, but he needs to get into he needs to be like 20 for 30, 260 yards, 3 touchdowns total, and 1 pick or less. If we do that, game's over. We're going to dominate. If he plays like he did last week, we could lose this game, especially in their house. But there's another.
He didn't look great last week. I mean,
he hasn't looked good. He hasn't looked good for like 4 weeks.
Really?
No, he hasn't. And people are talking about like, well, they took it out of his hands, and now they're going to run the ball more, and that's that's not who we are. We're not as good this way. Our defense has been playing lights out to carry us, and we've just been playing like this kind of conservative football game where we're making mistakes, but we're not killing ourselves with it. So last 2 games weren't tough games anyway. And something else that came out today was with I'm trying to think of the source. It was one of the ticketing sources. They estimate that we're going to have 52% of the capacity in the stadium on Sunday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's huge if that actually happens, right? So, like, even if we get like 35%, that's a giant leap. And the Miami Dolphins fans, they're not crazy and wild and
they're not
loud. They don't show up for their team most of the time. I mean, they might this game, but
really
we bought them all up. Yeah, like we came in and bought a lot of tickets.
The stadium. No, that for sure. I said, y'all fill up a damn stadium, man.
We did that to Tennessee a couple of years ago. They were talking trash. They won the fans of the year poll or whatever, and then the very next game we played them and we filled their stadium up. And I was like, this is a bunch.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was more Bills fans in DC or Landover, I should say, than Commanders fans.
It might have been. It's not that bad of a drive. It's only probably
7 hours. I mean, you guys travel well. Some teams do, some teams don't. Are fans, but that's definitely a team that the fans travel well. So let me ask you this. I know it's probably not good to look for, but if you guys do win, are you playing the wild card team or no?
Yeah, so we'll play the 7 seed.
Okay.
So that's going to be either the loser of – no, I'm sorry. It's going to either be the winner of the game Saturday night, or it could be the Jags, or it could be the Steelers. So it'll be a game that we could – I know we lost the Jags earlier, but – that was a weird game. We messed up the travel situation there. It was obvious on tape that we were the better team. We just blew it.
Right.
I'd be okay with any of those teams. Then Miami will have to go to Kansas City, which is kind of interesting. Tyreek Hill has to go back to his old stomping grounds and compete with his old team and see what happens.
That's right. Yeah.
And the Chiefs aren't that good, and they're not as good as they once were. So
no.
So that's kind of how it rolls.
It'll be interesting. Okay.
So did
your game is at what, 4:00 on Sunday?
No, we had the night game. They flexed
you got the night game, so you've got all those other games to watch to see if it goes in your favor, and then you put your game at night.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I can figure it out like what needs to happen. It'll still be stressful, but I stress out on every game because I'm a psycho.
Well, just pace yourself, man. And make sure the cats are in the other room. So
watch your chairs and
your babies and
the slamming chairs in the garage because that's where all my TVs are, like 5 TVs.
Yeah,
they know to stay away from me on Sundays.
Yeah. Whenever
Awful.
the Bills lose, I text you, me and Brian.
Don't.
Yeah, we're like, hey,
Don't
man.
don't text me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I know that I'm not even going to hear from you. I'm just worried for your family.
You think really?
Yeah, I'm just like, hey, is your family okay right
Hello, hello, hello.
Exactly. You've
Just
been
like
Kevin.
that. It's Kevin texting me. Hello.
Yeah, if you ever come on a show and you say something dumb, you're going to get Kevined. That's what that is right there.
Yeah, you get Kevined. That's for sure.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, so be ready for that.
What's your what was your next topic you want to talk about?
So I want to go back to Ron Rivera for a minute. I just want to, obviously, I think we all know he's going to get fired on Monday, right? Mm-hmm. So his legacy, if you even want to say that, it's funny because when he first got hired, I was very excited because when you're a Commanders fan and you've been in the dumps and you have a name like that, he's well respected. He still is. I'm not going to give him that. Still well respected guy. He won a Super Bowl. I think that you would say he's one of those leader of men kind of guys, very disciplinarian, but
yeah,
you know what I mean?
The game just passed him by. That's really what's wrong with him.
Yeah, but I was excited, and we didn't know that, and so the first thing he started with was, well, it's going to take a couple of years, and that was understandable,
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we're not going to get into all the stuff he had to deal with, the Dan Snyder stuff, and he gets credit for changing the culture. I think that's what bothers me the most because he really didn't do anything.
Right,
all that stuff happened. Any coach would have been in there. That would have happened. Dan was gone. The league wanted him out. The sexual harassment stuff that had nothing, that went out the door when he left. So, but everybody wants to say, Ron, changed the culture. And it's hilarious because now that if you look on Twitter, the latest things from players are like, well, what do you want to change here? They say the culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Ron didn't do anything. So a couple of years later, nothing's changed. And then I think it was just last year, Alex, that Ron started saying, well, you got to understand these are young players. Okay, well, 3 years ago, you said that you were building it and it would take 2 to 3 years. And now we're in the third year and you're saying, come on, man.
Yeah.
So then he shifted from that and it was all about, well, I found the quarterback, which was Sam Howell. Again, hilarious.
Yeah.
The last game of last year actually happened to be the Cowboys as well.
Mm-hmm.
If any of you guys remember, you Commanders fans out there, Ron Rivera did not even want to play Sam Howell. He wanted to play Taylor Heineke.
Heineke had to tell him to play.
And Taylor Heineke was like, you should play Sam.
And Carson too, right? Wentz did it too. They're both like, dude, play the kid. He's good.
Right. But Ron was like, Ron had even on, in the pressers was like, oh, he's not ready. And you got to remember, he drafted this dude in the 5th round. It's not like he was like, oh, we got to hurry up and draft this guy before somebody takes him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then now fast forward to this year and Sam showed some promise, right? And then suddenly in the pressers, Ron's like, well, we found our quarterback. And, and that's what I'm going to hang my hat on at the end of the year. Like I changed the culture. And
what week was that?
For you.
What week was that when he said that?
I would say it's right when I would say maybe like week 7 or 8.
So it's right before Hal started playing like trash.
Yes.
Like right before he started playing.
It's so obvious what Ron was doing. And trust me, I get it. I respect the guy. I think he tried his best. He failed. He really did. And he wants to hang his hat on something.
Right.
And he's got nothing. He's
like,
oh, it's the culture. And
he just don't want to get fired.
Yeah. And then it was like he was going to rebuild this team and leave it. And you don't know this, Alex, but he's actually one of the pressers. He said that something like, I just want to, maybe they'll give me the trophy one day when I retire because of the team that I left and built for them.
Yeah,
that's what he said. I can see the Lombardi trophy. Like he was a part of it, So I feel bad for him because he really doesn't have anything to hang his hat on. I mean, the only thing I will say is he put us in a position for a number 2 draft pick unintentionally, and I am excited about that. So I wish Ron the best. I'm tired of hearing his sound bites and his pressers about what he's done for us. He hadn't done shit for us.
I would have. I mean, I like Rivera. I think he's a good man.
He is a good man.
Say that.
He's a good man.
I just don't think. I think the game's passed him by. I think they should have fired him in week 10 or 11 and tried out Eric Bieniemy. and just see what happens. And then if Bieniemy wasn't good at that point, you'd be like, I tried, to try different things and try to, remove Rivera from it to see if it got better. And then I let Bieniemy run it because he's the offensive play caller at this point. And maybe Bieniemy could have saved the season. Playoffs, like not save the season, but got you to a playoff game. And then you could be like, all right, we got Bieniemy for the future. That's great. But now, if Rivera's gone, everybody's gone. They're going to fire everybody.
Everybody's gone. But
yeah.
And I think we probably have different opinions on that. I think I had seen enough from Eric already at that point where, first of all, he was a little red flag to begin with because no team was interviewing him at all. He didn't get any interviews anywhere. No team was interested other than the Commanders. That should tell you something right there.
Yeah.
Only the Commanders. And then, of course, we act like we fleeced the NFL and got this amazing coach.
I think he interviews really bad. That's the only answer.
And I didn't know. I don't know how much you had heard him.
I don't know. That's just what people speculate.
Now that I listen to his pressers because he's on the Commanders, he uses a lot of cliche things, and he speaks to himself he refers to himself in third person. Which he's like, Eric Bieniemy doesn't do this. It's really funny.
Well,
but he uses a lot of the cliche phrases that you hear, and without actually saying anything.
Yeah. And his problem too in the past spots has been, especially was in Kansas City, was that people didn't like him because he was too hard nosed. He's an old school coach, right? Bieniemy played in the league. He knows how people used to coach him. But these kids, these Gen Z, some of them are millennials, most of them are Gen Zs. They don't take to the stuff very well. It's like an NBA culture.
And we know that actually happened because our head coach, God bless him, told everybody in a presser. He said, a lot of the players came to me and said that Eric Bieniemy was. So he sort of unintentionally threw his offensive coordinator under the bus in front of the media.
Yeah. Well,
but this is another reason why the game has passed him by. He doesn't know how to respond to media. Last year, he didn't even know they were out of the playoffs. Somebody said it to him. How do you feel? He's like, are we out of the playoffs? I didn't know that. So
he's kind of clueless with it,
Right. So like you said, good man.
Yeah.
Go retire. It is going to suck because he most likely will have a losing record. It's 102 to 103 and 2 ties.
Yeah.
After this Sunday.
He'll retire. But he'll retire.
He'll definitely retire.
Yeah, he won't get another job. And the thing is too, like I said, I think that as far as the Bieniemy point, I feel like the way he coaches, you and I would take well to it, right? Our coaches in high school and stuff, they were hard on you, they're not going to just talk to you they're not going to coddle you, right?
Right.
And I do think that this is like a cultural thing now at this point where kids in this age group, my kids are kind of like this, where they don't take to me yelling or being hard nosed about things, but sometimes it has to be done.
Right.
But it's like I said with it's like
the girls.
It's also like the NBA is like this, right? Where the players run the league basically, right? They have all the power. And it's kind of trickled into the NFL a little bit where you have NBA players, they're taking 15, 20 games off a year because they're tired. And it's dude, you play basketball, dude. You're in your 20s. What are you talking about? You should be able to play every single day. I know you'd be more tired in different levels, but it trickles into other sports. So and that's kind of the I'd say the more trendy sport in most ways. And I can see the NFL trying to the NFLPA in a lot of ways too, with some of the stuff they want to do. A lot of times they're trying to pull that into our league with the fully guaranteed deals and stuff.
Big time.
And the NFL don't want to do that because they know what their league is about, and they're not going to give out fully guaranteed contracts to players, especially in a sport that's so volatile. People get hurt all the time, So,
and like you said, so Bieniemy doesn't really fit that new model at all. I think he'll be gone. I really think that literally everybody in the building will be fired. I think that should be the case. No hard feelings. I think they, like I said, they're all good people, but this is a great opportunity to literally just start everything over.
Well, it's going to be you have two OCs that I think will be decent fits. It'll be Miami's OC and then the guy from Detroit. God, what's his name?
Is it Johnson or Brian Johnson? Kelly Johnson or something?
Yeah.
The latest I saw on here literally like an hour ago was there's a lot of talk about the defensive coordinator of the Ravens, who's also the scout.
McDonald.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it.
Really? Super young guy, apparently like super smart, genius.
Yeah, so what you're going to get yourself into, though, like nobody's really a genius as a DC. Like it's a player-oriented thing, and you have a system. And if you have good players, you're going to be good, right?
Yeah.
So when you have a DC as a head coach, it's like it's what we're dealing with in Buffalo. Like I like McDermott, but like every 3 years we're having to recycle OCs, and we got to find a new one that's good, and then the next one's not. Like Dorsey, and then we fire him, and it's like you're always replenishing that. And offense.
Does McDermott still run?
Offense is more important. Huh?
Does he still run the defense, McDermott?
Yeah, he's running now.
Yeah.
So they got. I don't know if they fired Leslie Frazier, if he really quit, just need a break.
Okay.
But I think they fired him. And I don't think it's not really his fault.
But the number one goal right now is number 2 draft pick. That's all we should care about right now. Lose. And I really hope that new owner made a call to Ron and said, hey, Ron, I really want to see Jake Fromm, and I really want to see all the other rookies that haven't played.
Me, you don't want Jake Fromm. Jake from State Farm. That's what we call him.
To be honest,
played in Buffalo. We drafted him.
Pretty good in preseason, so I think I'd rather see Sam Howell, to be honest.
Yeah, we drafted Fromm.
No, did we?
Yeah, he's like a practice squad level player.
Okay, well that's premier for us.
He was good. He went to Georgia. He was a good player.
Okay. He wasn't one of our draft picks? Okay.
He had a weird scandal right after the draft too. It was like a real weird. He was doing some things that I would deem pretty racist, and Buffalo hung on to him and then cut him pretty quick after that.
Oh wow. Okay.
He was our COVID quarterback for like a whole season. And then we cut him after that because we needed a third quarterback for that. So.
Hey, that reminds me, has McDermott given any speeches lately that we should be aware of?
Speeches?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I mean, just inspirational speeches, just about,
being really super awkward when he's talking and just gets to be put on
the 9/11
weird guy will do a hit job on him. Huh?
The 9/11 terrorists.
Hello.
Yeah, that was.
I'll be honest. When I heard that, I was like, okay. Like I get what he was trying to say. He's awkward. He's gonna do weird stuff. He shouldn't have probably said it. But like, dude, give me a break. Like you're a grown adult man. The football players, obviously, he apologized to him. That was written in the article too, that he apologized afterwards because he knew he's like, maybe I overstepped.
Really? Because it happened a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, it was like 4 years ago. 2019, dude.
Okay.
It was, we weren't even who we are now at that point. Most of the players aren't even on the team anymore. So a bunch of people came out and defended him. I thought it was kind of like you shouldn't have said it, but like, oh well, like I get what you were trying to get around to.
That was silly. I just wanted to
like
some idiot made it a topic recently this year or last year.
That guy's an idiot. I can't remember his name now, the guy who wrote it, but he was actually the guy who wrote it was not given press credentials from the Bills. So he's not on good terms with McDermott anyway. He said bad things about him in the past. And
so
then
he
decided he dropped it like after a 2-game losing streak. Like he was like, I had enough. He's from Buffalo. And I'm like, we've had enough of you, dude. Like, get out of here. Like, we want to win. This is not helping us win. Just because you want the guy fired. Like, this is not you. How about we dig up some of your past, put it on Twitter, and then maybe people cancel you for it. Like, what are we talking about?
Right. Yeah.
Do you have any other topics? I got one last thing.
No, it's on you now. That's all I want to talk about.
So
let's hear it. What you got?
This is interesting. This is not about football.
Okay.
This is a story that came out today. It does relate to Miami. Okay. I'm going to let you watch the video.
Okay.
And then we can talk about it because it's pretty interesting. All right. Hold on. Share screen. All right. So we got here. Bookmarks. Sorry, you're seeing all my bookmarks on people that talk trash to me on Twitter. Okay, here it is. All right. Excuse it's going to be kind of loud, but oh no, it's not. See this? Can you see my pointer here?
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
What does it look like to you?
I see
See
your
it?
little. Yeah, I see your little pointer, your little finger.
No, above it, walking.
Oh.
So like I'm pointed out right here above my finger here. I'm moving with it.
What is that?
Okay. So I got one more video for you. So basically what happened last night or 3 nights ago, right after as New Year's. So there was a guy, there was a two teenagers in Miami got a fight in a mall. That's what they said, right? And literally these cop cars, how many there are for a fight in the mall? That they said they shot off fireworks, so it sounded like guns, right? You don't see all the cop cars here. There's like 150 cars up and down the road here for this one incident, right? They're saying it's like a vandalism thing where a couple kids, but there's other people saying that it's aliens.
I just saw the comment. Right.
So hold on. I got another video of a guy claiming he was there. Hold on. This is pretty good, actually.
He was at the Miami incident. He explains what took place when he was there. Check it out.
Since nobody's going to talk about it, I figured, fuck it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was down in Miami for the New Year's. You know what I'm saying? Me and my girl, I got a little time share. We was down there on like a mini vacay, just to start the New Year's off right. So anyway, we happened to be at that mall. So we had Foot Locker or whatever. Next thing you know, you start hearing all this commotion outside. Sound like firecrackers or something. So you know what I'm saying? I grab her clothes. I'm like, yo, we about to get up out of here because I originally thought that they were shooting. You know what I'm saying? I thought, some type of gunfight had broke out, whatever the case is, because we're not familiar with Miami, we're not familiar with the city. So I'm like, damn, I ain't even got my blick. So you know what I'm saying? We about to swerve. Next thing I know, it's like crazy. Like we just see all these people running, like fat chicks. Ladies, like, I'm talking about moving. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, old people even move. I'm talking about moving. So my girl, she like, what's going on? I'm like, fuck all that, we out. Like, I'm not gonna ask no questions. We just gonna follow the crowd. Next thing you know, real like gunshots start going off. So you know what I'm saying? Like we trying to follow the crowd, get out of here. I look back, no cap, yo. No cap. I look back, it looked like a big ass shadow, but it was solid at the same time, like a few shadows, but they were solid at the same time, and it almost looked like they was.
All right, I'm gonna stop because it's another minute long.
Yeah.
It's just too much. But that you get the gist of it, what he's trying to say. I'm trying to find the
Do you believe it's an alien, don't you?
No, I don't actually.
Okay.
I think it's hilarious though.
Why does it always have to be a blurry video?
That's the problem. It's like, why is it blurry? We're in 2024.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm trying to find the cops, how many cops there were here. I'm trying to find the actual video. It's shocking. Hold on, here it is. Dude.
Oh God.
So why? That's the part that gets me, right?
That is the one. You're right about that. Yeah.
So like, why is this happening for? So even if it's I'm coming back now. Hold on. I'm back. So even if it's like say it was a shooting, right?
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't bring 100 cop cars to that, right?
No.
Maybe a few, like I know it's a mall and like more people, but like I don't know, like 15, 20, like at a certain point it's too many cop cars and becomes a problem.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are saying that sorry. That it's conspiracy where aliens really did come in there and the shots they heard were actual shots and weren't fireworks. And they were shooting at these things and people started running. So they had a good excuse to say, well, it was a riot. Some kids were vandalizing things and got into a big assault situation.
Yeah.
And then the whole reason for the cop cars, like if it's me, like that's the only thing that makes me believe it could be something weird is that there's 150 cop cars in Miami for whatever reason. Bill's Mafia is not bringing it like that this weekend, I don't think. I mean, they'll probably have quite a few people there, but then it could be like that, But at the same time, like it's like, I don't know what that is. And there is a picture of something weird. It's blurry as hell.
No, it's blurry. You would think the news would pick it up or something too. There'd be a little bit more about it. So I'm gonna look into it.
Yeah, I mean, the news said it was vandalism and like a kid,
really?
a kid fight. Like they were like, it's a couple of minors got into an altercation kind of thing.
I got you.
Yeah. So, but
how
I just thought it was weird, huh?
If it was that, I mean, are we saying all the cops are keeping this on the down low? So all 150 cops are like,
yeah, that's the other thing. Like, how many people can you keep a secret with? You know, like what are they
especially in
seeing?
this day and age?
Unless they're just going to disclose a bunch of weird alien stuff tomorrow, you know, like,
I mean,
all
it
right,
might happen for
huh?
sure. Yeah,
I guess. I mean, if that's what they are, could be, you know, could be demons, bro.
Yeah.
You probably don't buy into that though.
No.
Anyway, you got anything else before we end up here today?
No, that's it, boss.
All right.
Good luck for this
I'm
weekend.
not your boss, dude.
Huh?
I'm not your boss, dude.
Boss man.
We're co-running this here.
Yeah, we're code. That's right.
Yeah, got you trapped into it. So before I let everybody go, please like, share, and subscribe. We'll be on YouTube with this by the time you see it. We're going to invite a bunch of people to the Facebook page that are friends with us. Please check it out. That's why we invited you guys. I thought you might like it.
Yeah. And if you've got any insight on anything we talked about or anything else, definitely comment
on it. We'll let you on the next show, dude. We can let up to 6 people in this thing every single time. So, you know, if you want to get on, talk about, even if it's a team that's not related to ours, we'd love to talk about it. Playoffs, draft talk. I love draft stuff. So we could talk draft too. Or we can just debate if you want. I like that. But yeah, so I appreciate everybody coming out tonight, and like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Later.
See you.